Hi, I'm Faye. I'm an AmeriCamp brand ambassador and I went to camp for the first time last year, and I just wanted to do a little video for anyone who is in the same position I was in a year ago, maybe thinking about applying for camp, maybe already have applied for camp. You're feeling a little bit stressed, a little bit nervous, not really sure about the whole process or what to expect or anything. Yeah, I hope that this video can help clarify a few things for you. Okay, so this video is going to concentrate on the application process for AmeriCamp, so that you know what to expect, and yeah, how to fill out your application properly and have the best chances of getting placed. So AmeriCamp is a visa sponsorship agency. They work with about 900 different summer camps across the USA. This means that they are the people that sponsor you to get your visa and they help you find a job, etc, etc. It's essential to have a visa sponsorship agency, but there are loads of different ones. AmeriCamp, Camp America, Camp Leaders, CCUK, BUNAC, all different kinds. So yeah, maybe I would just first of all have a bit of research, see which one you think is best fit for you, because they all tend to offer slightly different things, but they all pretty much do the same job. I personally chose to go with AmeriCamp because I found that what they were offering was the best fit for me, as well as the fact that they seem to have the lowest costs and you also get paid the highest salary. So obviously included with the fees and costs that you have to pay is your actual sponsorship for your visa, which, as I said, is essential. You need to have that in order to get a visa. With AmeriCamp, you also get 30 days included on your visa to travel after camp. You get a 24/7 helpline for any problems that should occur if you're at camp, and you also get medical insurance for the duration of the time that you're at camp and for the 30 days that you're travelling afterwards. However, this is just basic medical insurance, so if you have any additional needs that might need covering, such as epilepsy or anything else along those lines, then you'll have to take out your own medical cover for those as well. And also, most importantly, they help set you up with a job in a camp where you get paid, obviously, but you also get all of your meals and accommodation for free. Okay, so now a little bit about the application. The first thing you need to do is go to the AmeriCamp website, which, if you're in the UK, is www.americamp.co.uk. It will be linked below, and you need to register your interest. At this point, I think they also ask you to either pay a deposit or pay in full. If you choose to pay in full, when I looked at their website in January 2023, the cost was £439. If you choose to pay a deposit, that is £49, and then 2 payments, which total up to £459 in total, including the deposit. Alright, so once you've registered your interest and paid your deposit, then you will get sent a link to your online application. Now, when you first look at this application, it looks quite scary. There's quite a lot of different sections to it. It's quite big. It can be quite overwhelming, but actually it's not anything to be worried about, really. I'm going to go over each section in the application to try and help you sort of figure out what you need to put, or so you can get an idea of what the application will look like if you haven't actually applied yet but you're considering applying. This whole application should only take you about an hour to an hour and a half. So grab a drink, sit down, grab some snacks, get it done. Okay, so the first thing you will need is an application photo. I spent so long stressing about which photo to choose, and actually you really don't need to. As long as it's a nice photo of you where you're smiling, you know, you look happy, you look kind, etc, all that kind of thing, then it doesn't really matter at all. It's the photo of you that will get sent out to all the different camps, so make sure that it reflects you in the best possible way. But other than that, it doesn't really matter that much, don't stress about it. Okay, the next section on the application is pretty easy. It's your personal details. So this is where they ask you your name, your date of birth, your address, your country of residence, all that kind of thing. Super simple, really quick to fill out. Alright, section 3 is education and background. This is where they will ask if you are a student, and if you are a student, where you're studying, what you're studying, your term dates, etc, etc. And then they will ask about a bit of background information. Now, this is a section for me that I found one of the most challenging, because the first question is, tell us about yourself. And if you're anything like me, you hate these sorts of questions that are so broad. It does give you a little bit of help as to what you can put in. So, you know, start off introducing yourself. If you're a student, you could mention where and what you are studying. Mention your family, maybe who you live with, all that kind of stuff. If you have a job, what you do for a job, what you like to do for fun, for hobbies, anything that you're interested in, really, like just anything that you could use to introduce yourself, make yourself stand out. Yeah, it's pretty broad, but it is a question that you get all the time in job interviews, really, so it's nothing unexpected. And then they ask for you to write a little bit about your proudest achievement. If you can link this to one of your skills you have to put on the application, which I will go over later on in this video, then that is excellent. I linked mine to something that I did with performing arts. If you can't, it doesn't matter, just put down absolutely anything that you are proud of. I think they're just looking to really get more of a vibe for who you are as a person. Okay, the next section is about the kind of jobs that you would like to take at camp. This is quite a big section, but don't let it stress you out too much. Okay, so first of all, it asks for your earliest start dates and your latest end dates. Most camps start around mid-June and end mid-August, so obviously the earlier in June and the later in August that these start dates can be, the better. I think the cut-off for AmeriCamp applications is usually around the 20th of June, but you would have to check on the website for that information. The next section will ask you what kind of camps you would like to work at. So this is a day camp, an overnight camp, a girls only camp, a boys only camp, a Girl Scout camp, a religious camp, a special needs camp, all that sort of jazz. You can select which ones you would like to do. And then a little bit further down, it does also ask you if you are interested in working in a special needs camp or in a religious camp, then why you were interested in working at these types of camps. But if you're not, also no worries, there's absolutely no obligation and you can just select that you're not interested. Okay, then they give you a little section to write about why you would like to work at camp. I would say that this is quite an important section. I would really try to focus it around the campers, because that is the most important part about camp. And I would say camp is hard. It's a lot of fun, but it's also hard work. And if you are someone that is just wanting to go to camp as a summer job to make some money and maybe do a little bit of traveling, then you might struggle a little bit, because you spend so much time with the children at camp and that has to be your main focus. So yeah, just make sure that you are applying for the right reasons. Then it will ask you about how you can have a positive impact at camp. So, you know, if you've worked with children before, this would be a great time to mention sort of how you had a positive impact on them, or if not, you can just put about how your skills can have a positive impact at camp, or how aspects of your personality can have a positive impact. Like, just try and really sell yourself. And then lastly, why should camps hire you? Again, you've just got to really try and sell yourself with this one. It's pretty standard on most job applications nowadays, these types of questions. You've just really got to go for it and make yourself appear in the best light possible. Alright, another quite big section of the application is the skills section. This is where they ask you to put down your top 3 skills that you would like to utilise whilst working at camp. Even if you are just going to be a general counsellor instead of an activity leader, then you still need to fill this out. So they do actually have a drop-down box that lets you select from a very long list of skills, anything from horse riding, arts and crafts, any type of water sport or land sport you can think of, woodwork, stage management and lighting, tie-dyeing, Zumba, like honestly all different kinds of skills, and there's even an option to put other if your skill doesn't appear on there. Next, you have to write a little bit about the experience that you have with that skill. So if you have experience teaching this skill already, then definitely put that down, although teaching experience isn't necessary to work at camp. So if you don't have any teaching experience, just put down absolutely any experience that you have got. If you've got any qualifications in your skill area or anything like that, then definitely mention them. Okay, your next section is about work experience. This is quite a chunky one as well. They ask if you have any experience working with children before. Obviously, if you have, that one's dead simple, just pop it down in there. If you haven't, you can maybe just say that while you haven't had any experience working with children, you're really looking forward to gaining that experience at camp and being a really good role model for the campers, something along those lines. Then they ask if you have had any kind of experience in leadership or adventure and outdoor situations. So this again can be absolutely anything. If you've been a supervisor at work or volunteering or anything like that. I did all 3 levels of Duke of Edinburgh whilst I was still at school, so I popped them down for my outdoor experience. So yeah, it really can be anything. And they also ask about any jobs that you currently have or that you have previously had and what kind of roles you had to do within those jobs. Again, that's pretty straightforward for most job applications, so it's quite easy. Okay, the next 4 and the last 4 parts of the application are super simple. The first one is criminal background and medical background, which is super easy. They basically just want to know that you're fit and healthy to work at camp, or if you have any sort of conditions that might need special allowances or anything like that while you're at camp. Obviously, they also want to know that you've got no convictions or anything like that, because you will have to go through a DBS check because you will be working with children. The next section is emergency contact. I think there's space to put down either 2 or 3 emergency contacts. Again, super easy. They just ask their name, their relationship to you, their phone number and their email address. Your next section is visa information. So this is literally just asking if you've ever had a visa before or if you've ever had a visa denied before. And your last section is your references. They must be someone that have known you for more than 6 months in a professional setting, and they can't be anyone from camp if you've worked there previously. So you will need their name, their job title, their phone number and their email address. But this can literally be anyone, a boss, a supervisor, someone whose children you babysat, or if you volunteered, like it could be your manager in some sort of volunteering capacity. Okay, so when that is all sorted and you are finished with your application, the AmeriCamp team will look at it, make sure that they're happy with everything, and then you will get a link to book an interview. This interview with AmeriCamp will be with one of their brand ambassadors, and it is absolutely nothing to worry about at all. It's pretty straightforward. They just sort of go through what's on your application, maybe ask you a bit more information, and it's just generally so that they can like get the vibe of who you are as a person. Okay, so after your interview, after AmeriCamp have decided that you would be a good fit for the program, then your application will go live. This is when camps can start looking through applications. They get a big system with all the applications. They can filter them out for specifics, what they need, all kinds of stuff. So there are 2 main ways to get placed. The first one is online, which I would say is probably the most common way to get placed. This means that the camp directors will see your application on the AmeriCamp system, and they will contact you, usually by phone or email, and most often arrange to set up an interview. Or the second way to get placed is to go to an AmeriCamp placement fair, which is where they do these big events and directors from a couple of different camps normally come to them. You can go around, talk to people, get the feel for each camp, and then certain camps will actually offer you a job on the spot on the day. Okay, so once you've got your placement at camp, this is sort of when the fun really begins. You will have to have a DBS check performed. There is an additional cost for that. It is a requirement though if you are going to be working with children, so it needs to be done. And you'll also have to have a medical assessment. You can download the paperwork from AmeriCamp and fill it out, and then just get a doctor to sign it and then re-upload it to the AmeriCamp system. Okay, next you will need to go for a visa appointment. It has to be in person at the US Embassy. The one in England is in London. And so you will go online and make an appointment. This can be quite daunting. I know I was pretty scared when I went, but it's actually pretty straightforward. I think it's more just not really being sure what to expect that kind of throws people off. But you will make your appointment. They will tell you all of the paperwork that you have to bring. And you turn up, you go inside, they will give you a number and they will send you up to the correct floor. And then it's like a big hall. You just go and find a seat, and when your number gets called, you will walk up to a window. There's quite a few of these windows all along one wall, sort of like a desk at a bank, like it's just a little section, just you and the person behind the counter. And this is where they will ask you a couple of questions. They will take your fingerprints. And then after I had done that, they asked me to go into another queue. And then again, we just had to go up to another window where they asked a couple of questions like where you will be working, what kind of thing you'll be teaching, if you have any plans when you finish camp, if you have any plans for when you get back home, all of that kind of thing. It's actually very not easy, but it's actually less stressful than I thought it would be. They will tell you on the day about your visa decision, and then the only thing that I would say is to make sure that you book this enough time in advance, because they do actually take your passport from you and keep it so that they can put the visa in it and then they mail it back to you. So you need to make sure that you have enough time for your passport to be sent back to you, because the last thing you want is to be turning up at the airport ready to go to camp without a passport. I will say that the last thing that you need to do in terms of your application is attend a J1 orientation day. This is a requirement in order to actually get your visa. So I believe that they do some online, but I'm not entirely sure anymore. That might have just been a COVID thing. But mine was in person in Manchester, and you essentially get to go to this sort of orientation day where you get to meet loads of other people going to camp, and maybe even find some people who are going to the same camp as you. And AmeriCamp will give you sort of all the information that you need about like the immigration process and actually getting to America and all that kind of thing. And then they will tell you about things that you might need to know about camp, what sort of skills you might need, any information that you might need to know, all the phone numbers and contact details, etc. for if anything goes wrong, people who you might need to contact, all that kind of thing. Yeah, so that is it for the application process. Once you've done this, you're ready to book your flights, and then you just put in your flight information on your AmeriCamp application and you're all good to go. It's just a matter of waiting from then on. That's when it gets really exciting. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope this helped clarify some things. If you've got any more questions, please leave a comment below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If there's any other kind of videos that you would like to see, then let me know. I am a new channel, so you know, like, subscribe, share, anything would be super helpful. And if you are thinking about going with AmeriCamp, as I mentioned, I am an AmeriCamp brand ambassador. So if you use the code FAY20, that's FAY20, then you'll get a discount on your sign-up fees. All right, see you next time.